Hi everybody, this is Dino Chris from Prehistoric Facts, and this is a special episode for Prehistoric Facts Week, and it is Wednesday, December 4th, and so it will be a special episode. Today I will be doing something I have never done before, and it is actually do two dinosaurs at the same time. So this will be a very interesting episode, so hopefully I can actually give you the information that I can give you. Alright, and then the dinosaurs that we're going to be talking about today is Edmontonia and Chirosentrotes. And these are two very different dinosaurs. Both of them actually lived in the late Cretaceous. One actually lived 80 million years ago, and one lived around 75 to 70 million years ago. And they're both from North America. But let's start with Edmontonia. Edmontonia is an armored dinosaur. It actually lived in the late Cretaceous, like in 75 to 70 million years ago, and for the name, and because of the name, it is actually named after the city of Edmonton, Canada, and its remains were actually found near the city of Edmonton, and so that's why it was given the name Edmontonia. And Edmontonia is an armored dinosaur that is 20 feet long and weighed around 3 tons. Now, this is actually a small armored dinosaur, and it is not like a Euoplocephalus or Ankylosaurus. They're very similar. They're close relatives, but it's just that they're very different. They don't have the club. Edmontonia does not have the club on the tail. It has this these array of spikes that stick out of its shoulders, and it has some smaller spikes at the end of the tail. So it's a pretty sophisticated armored dinosaur. And since it's a very slow dinosaur, and it's not really going to be very fast in any way, so probably its top speed would actually have been around probably 5 miles per hour. So it was not very fast at all. And because it was so fast, is because it had to carry that array of armor on its back, and when you built that heavily, you don't need to be that fast. And you see, it's going to be very hard for predators to actually get close to this thing, is because you see, it's actually so well protected that predators would only have to get right underneath right at the belly to make an inflicting wound, and that is not it's not easy to get to tackle a Sherman tank right underneath its weak side, right at its weak side, and so it's really hard to take that animal down. But it is a herbivore. It would actually eat the low-growing shrubs, in basically the small bushy-like plants, and so it would actually just it would just spend its day wandering around looking for food, and water, and pretty much just kind of actually live its life that way. They would be alone. They would be probably mainly loners, so they probably didn't really need to be in a herd, because since when you're that well protected, you don't need to be in a herd, because you can just defend yourself very easily. Now, but even though it has a good sense of smell and a good sense of hearing, but what is interesting about the ankylosaurs is that they don't have a very good sense of sight, and their sense of sight is very poor. It's because they can only see very close distances, and pretty much they have to detect the predator by using its sense of smell and also by its sense of hearing. And if they can smell the predator nearby, then that means it has to get ready for the predator. It has to be ready for the predator to possibly make an attack, which it's basically going to crouch down and actually try to defend itself that way. You just basically would just stand still and just kind of let the predator try to figure out how to tackle this, how to kill this thing. But mainly, it's pretty much going to be very successful most of the time, because when a predator actually tries to tackle this thing, it would just basically get injured. It would not want to take any chances to tackle an adult. The juveniles are another story. The juveniles would not be well protected like the adults. And when we actually look at the predators around Edmontonia, we'd actually be seeing Albertosaurus, Daspletosaurus, Gorgosaurus, Troodon, and probably Dromaeosaurus. Because, I mean, that at that particular time, around 75 to 70 million years ago, it was actually a very dangerous kind of world. Tyrannosaurs were ruling North America, and so Tyrannosaurs would have actually been the #1 enemy for this type of herbivore. Now, the extinction of this animal would actually just be basically climate change, because during this time, the planet was still cool, but still relatively warm at that particular time, and the sea levels were amazingly high. Because North America at that time was split in two by a vast inland sea, and so the only remains that are found of Edmontonia are actually found in Alberta, Canada. So it's pretty much going to have a very small area of territory. So I don't think it would actually have a very good ability to travel great distances. I think it just mainly would just stick around where it is and just kind of actually live out the extreme temperatures. But for the next dinosaur that we'll actually be talking about is Chirosentrotes, which is an oviraptor type of dinosaur, and it actually lived in North America, and this animal is 7 feet long, and it lived in 80 million years ago. And so this is a very rare dinosaur to find in North America. Oviraptorids are very rare in North America. They're pretty common in Asia, because that's where most of the remains have been found, like in Mongolia and China. Those are the big places to find oviraptorids, because you got like a oviraptor, you got Gigantoraptor. Those were actually the big named oviraptorids. Now, Chirosentrotes was actually, it's a very odd looking dinosaur. It has a lot, when you actually look at it, it looks like a bird. It looks like a weird looking bird, but because you see it has a beak instead of having teeth in its jaws. So this animal would actually be very unusual. It's still hard to understand what the diet is of this animal. The diet of this animal would probably be, I would say, omnivorous, eating both plants and meat. And oviraptorids were pretty much omnivorous, because they didn't really need to kill big prey, because that's not what their lifestyle was like. They probably ate more plants than meat, so it would probably be more herbivorous than carnivorous. But when it needed to eat meat, it would actually have to kill small prey, probably almost the size of say like a house cat, because that's a pretty standard size for prey for that kind of animal. And when we actually look at the oviraptorids, they do have a good sense of sight, and their sense of smell is not going to be particularly that great. It's because you see, since when you have a beak, you don't need to smell a great deal. I mean, vultures could be the exception to that. So, but I would actually say this, because since that oviraptorids are very closely related to birds, that they were probably feathered. So they were probably feathered dinosaurs. And these dinosaurs would actually use their feathers for display. They would not use them for flight, because they were a little too big to handle them, to be able to do powered flight. But they would actually probably would flap their arms up and down to show off their feathers from there, because the males will be brightly colored, and the females will actually be dull colored. And since that the oviraptorids have a lineage to the carnivorous dinosaurs, they're going to be in between from the carnivores and the herbivores, so they're pretty much omnivorous. And they do have long arms with these big claws. They're not gigantic claws, but they're relatively big on their hands. But that's probably mainly to grasp the plants that they were eating, to get them close to their mouths, and probably to defend themselves. That's probably one of the reasons for this animal to actually defend itself against predators, was to actually defend itself by actually just taking a swat right at the predator's face. Now, for the extinction of this animal, it would actually just be climate change again, because when you don't have the ability to actually like catch the new prey that is actually faster and also probably smarter, and also when the plants actually change, then the herbivores usually can't. The original herbivores of the past couldn't eat them, is because it was so strange to them to actually eat the new plants. So it would actually they would be very picky eaters. But with an omnivore, it's very difficult, because omnivores usually tend to have a very more successful lifestyle to adapt. But since oviraptorids like that would probably couldn't adapt to the new plants and probably the new prey that is actually being out there for the new age, and so it didn't last very long. So they're only mainly found 80 million years ago, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised it actually have been around since 75 million years ago, when the temperatures got a little bit cooler, and then all of a sudden the predators actually got a little bit more intelligent, and also got bigger, and also the herbivores that were around probably just took over every foliage that they can eat, because the ceratopsians were actually eating everything, and also you got the ankylosaurs and also the duck-billed dinosaurs that were actually eating the low shrubs and also the berries and the flowering plants around that time. So it would actually been very hard for the oviraptorids to actually adapt to the new animals and also the new environment. Alright, that's it for now. Now, tomorrow's episode would actually be an answering questions episode. I'll try to get this done in the morning. That way I don't have to be so hectic about trying to get this done tomorrow. So I'll actually try to get this done tomorrow. So make sure you send in your questions as soon as possible, so that way I can actually get these questions answered tomorrow morning. But also, you can actually remember to email me your questions at dinocris71@gmail.com. And also, you can actually post the questions on the Facebook fan page, Prehistoric Facts with Dino Chris. Like the page, you can actually submit your questions there too. And also, you can also follow me on Twitter at CSGRALL, the @ CSGRALL, and that's how it actually is spelled with the Twitter name. And it's getting pretty close to the end of the Prehistoric Facts week. We're right in the middle of the week, but even though Thursday and Friday and Saturday are going to be the last episodes of the Prehistoric Facts week, so hopefully I get a little more questions, and hopefully I can actually get some things done tomorrow too, so that I can actually have the free time that I need. Alright, that's it, and make sure to take care of the people around you, and also for your younger kids out there, make sure to listen to your parents, your teachers, and your guardians. Those are the best motivation you can have for a good education, and that is very important to have a good education so you can have a good job in the future. Alright, that's it for now, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning.